Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the regularly scheduled Planning and Zoning Board meeting of the City of West Miami. Today is January 29th, 2025. We'll go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we go ahead and have a roll call, please?
Okay, Board Member Gustavo Ceballos,
Present?
Eugenio Gonzalez,
Present.
Victoria de la Torre Gans,
Present.
Diana B. Rio,
Here.
Alexander Diaz.
Here.
City Manager is excused this evening, City Attorney is here. You have a full quorum.
Great. Go ahead and move to the approval of minutes. Do we have any comments, edits, or I'll entertain a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, seeing no old business, we'll jump straight into new business. First request is 5A, a variance application.
Okay, this is a variance application for Joel Investments Corp., property address 5830 Southwest 8th Street, West Miami, Florida 33144. Applicant is requesting a variance for repaving of an asphalt parking lot to allow 14 parking spaces for the entire lot where 22 spaces are required by zoning ordinance 282. This commercial property consists of 4 retail commercial spaces in front of the property on the north side and 6 apartment units in the rear of the property, also identified as 5831 Southwest 9th Street. This property is a normal-shaped interior commercial lot, and the applicant is requesting to allow 14 parking spaces for the entire lot. The lot measures 13,330 square feet. Zoning, Section 5, Zoning Ordinance 282.
Good evening, Tatiana Flates is on behalf of Joel Investment Corp. Basically, as explained, I'm advocating for Joel Investment Corp in this variance. This property has been around for many decades at this point, and to request there to be more than the 14 spaces would require pretty much for it to be destroyed and start from the beginning, or I don't think there's even space to add some sort of second-story garage or anything like that. So my client is requesting that they're allowed to redo the asphalt with the 14 parking spaces available.
So the request is just simply to redo the asphalt pavement?
The asphalt pavement, yeah.
City, is this currently a legal non-conforming property?
So based on my research, this lot has been like this for many years, as the attorney was saying. I did happen to find from many years ago, I'm talking like 80s, early 90s, variance requests for parking related that were not approved. Based on our staff recommendation, I did manage to speak to the city manager just before the meeting, and if the staff could make a recommendation to possibly defer this item and give it a 30-day extension. The city did hire a zoning consultant that I've been meeting with for the last couple of weeks. I am meeting with him tomorrow to get his input on this, to see what can be done, because they are limited with their spaces there.
You don't have any evidence of this being originally approved either through a variance or,
I do not. Not from back then.
okay? Any comments or questions from the board?
So they're asking for us to defer it for 30 days, if possible?
If it's possible, and if it's okay with the board to extend it 30 days so that we can speak to our zoning consultant and get a little bit more input on what could be a better option or solution.
We have no objection to that. If we could also know what the recommendation is beforehand, so we could
Of
be
course.
prepared.
Of course.
Yeah, I make a motion to defer it to next month's meeting.
Second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item
Thank you.
deferred, 5-0.
Okay, go ahead and call the next item.
Okay, next item, variance application for Elsa Josefina Vasquez, property address 6311 Southwest 18th Street, West Miami, Florida 33155. Applicant requests a variance to build a swimming pool in the rear yard within 6 feet, 6 inches of the rear property line where 10 feet is required by zoning ordinance 282 to the inside wall of the pool. This property is a normal-shaped interior lot, and the applicants are requesting a normal rectangular-shaped lap pool. The lot is 6,887.25 square feet with the standard yard, section 11.3, zoning ordinance 282.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Yes, so my lot is a
I'm
long...
sorry, name and
Oh,
address for the
sorry,
record.
Elsa Vasquez, forgot. 6311 Southwest 18th Street. And my lot is a long lot, but it's not deep, if you would, deep or wide enough. And we're just requesting 3.5 additional feet, which is, what is that, 42 inches? Well, what happens is there's some steps that come out a little bit from the home, so we can get out from the back. And because of those steps, we just need a few more inches or feet, if you would.
Do you have an easement in the back? Do you have
Behind
the
my
10
plans,
foot-
there's an easement.
There is?
The,
Okay.
they would have to just take my plants out, basically, that are there.
How wide is the pool?
The pool is, without the, it would be 6.5 feet, but with the additional inches or feet, it would be 10 feet wide.
Any other questions for the applicant or staff? Hearing no comments, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the plans as presented.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Okay, Victoria Gans, how do you vote?
Yes.
Eugenio Gonzalez, how do you vote?
That's
Alec-
it. Yeah.
Alexander Diaz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Diana Rio, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gustavo Ceballos, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item
Appreciate
passes
it.
5-0.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
You too, good luck.
Thank
Next item, 5C.
Okay, next item 5C, variance application for Humberto F. Castro, Isis C. Castro, Christine Castro, Andres J. Gonzalez, property address 6467 Southwest 18 Terrace, West Miami, Florida 33155. Applicant requests a variance to build an addition to the existing home within the side yard to be in line with the existing structure which sits within 12 feet 2 inches of the rear property line where 15 feet is required by zoning ordinance 282. This property is a normal-shaped interior lot. The lot is 8,400 square feet with a standard side yard. Zoning ordinance 282, section 4.15 of ordinance 9901.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Christine Castro Gonzalez, and I'm the owner of 6467 Southwest 18th Terrace.
Want to make any sort of presentation or just open for questions?
Uh, So, we're asking for the variance to be able to build 12 feet instead of 15 feet. Requirement due to the size of the lot is wider than deep.
Am I reading this right? You have a front setback on that proposed area of 31.5 feet? 31.48? For the-
Yes, yeah, their front setback exceeds the minimum 25 feet requirement.
So why can't you just shift the property 3 inches forward, or 3 feet forward? The entire addition that you're doing,
Mhm.
shift it 3 feet forward.
Because I wanted to connect to the existing,
It would still connect to the existing house, I'm just asking.
yeah.
There's nothing that would inhibit that, is what I'm saying. Just a question, I don't know.
If she can come up.
Mom, you took a minute.
Okay.
Hi, good evening.
Name and address
Isis
for the record,
Castro,
please.
And I'm a co-owner at 6467 Southwest 18th Terrace.
Normally, when we consider a variance, there's some sort of hardship, either there's no space or something that would prevent you from building it the way you'd like, but it seems like simply shifting the property 3 feet forward wouldn't affect anything and would not increase the non-conforming structure. My opinion, not the board. I don't know if the board has any comments or questions?
Yeah. I don't have any question, no.
This is to build towards the plans that is about.
I generally tend to agree with that statement. Typically, there needs to be some sort of hardship, not just, visual hardship or financial hardship, to follow that non-conforming setback. Given that you have so much space towards the front, and the layout of the house is very, very simple, the addition that you wanna do is very, very simple, I don't think it would be such a detriment to move it forward to meet the rear setback. Do you have any reasons why? You just wanted to follow that line?
Yeah, and that's the way it was, done in the plans. We don't,
Are you re-roofing the entire house?
no,
No, you're just putting a roof on that section?
yes.
Is the roof continuing the same line as the existing
believe
roof, or are
so.
you doing flat roof, or are you
It's
doing
flat
something
roof.
different?
That room,
So the house is flat roof now?
yes.
Really? Oh. Oh, I see here, okay. So the new roof is just a little bit higher than the existing, according to this?
I think it's because of the AC. They had to do that.
The
In order
what?
to, in order to, bring the AC, they had to do it that way, I believe.
If I'm reading this right, so the rear would be in line with what's already there, and the front would also be in line with what's already there?
With what they're proposing, yes.
It's just an extension to the right?
Yeah.
And there's no issue with the setback towards that side of the property, which would be
No,
the
they have
east
a,
side?
they have 34 feet on the side.
Okay. So, was there a variance approved for the house initially? Because if the rear setback's the issue, the house is already further back. The existing house?
I don't know if that's a question for staff, or maybe the property owner knows.
I don't know.
Do you know when the house was built?
And I believe it was 49.
Yeah.
Like most of the city.
That's the grandfather.
Yeah, it's probably grandfathered in.
I know, I think since you're elevating the roof, you're creating a separate, that structure that almost looks detached. I understand it's not detached, but it has enough differentiation from the existing house that if you move it forward the 3 feet to meet the rear setback, it wouldn't, I guess architecturally or visually is not going to be such a, it's not gonna be an eyesore, it's not gonna be detrimental to you for when you wanna sell the house or anything like that, so. I don't know.
Is there an easement here on this property?
I'm sorry?
In the back of the property, is there an easement as well?
Yes.
Yes,
Do it.
there is.
Yeah.
I don't know how that is going to interfere when they're connecting, both the existing and the new, because they're gonna use the hallway
To continue.
to, they're gonna create like a hallway,
Yeah.
between the two existing bedrooms to connect to the new part. So I don't know.
Well, I understand, they wanna keep it simple, and that's the simplest,
Because then, you know, it will be 3 feet, so I don't know how that's gonna play out as far as the design.
I understand what everyone's saying here about the setback, but to me, what I'm hung up on is that the house was initially built with the rear at that place, right? So I don't know if it was grandfathered or whatever the case may be, if staff can give some information on that. But I think that's the issue there. That is the hardship,
Yeah.
right? It's the way the house was initially built. Had it been according to code initially, then, you know,
yeah.
it wouldn't, they wouldn't push it back an additional X feet.
But I could entertain that if the site was tight and there was really no other place to move to, and they needed these, you know, the additional square footage. But in this case, they got a lot of room. I don't know. I just don't find that a hallway is a hardship, you know. You just gotta change the layout a little bit.
For the record, looking at the property appraiser report, there's multiple year builds, and the oldest is 1951, and before that, after that was 1985. And our zoning code, if my mind doesn't fail me, I believe was established in 1979 with amendments after the fact.
Does the property appraiser indicate the square footage of that 1980s construction?
I don't see that here. It shows, I'm sorry, it shows 80 square feet in 1985 and 1951, 1,100 square feet of living space.
So it wasn't anything that was built in the rear, if it was only 80 feet.
And looking at this aerial view, I mean, just thinking out loud here, it looks very similar to what the neighbors did, right? You know, they probably had the lot to the rear of them, right? They extended it longer because the houses were much smaller when they built them in the 40s and 50s. So I don't know, I'm feeling a little inclined to approve it just based on the hardship being the way the house was initially built.
Do we get any comments from the neighbor directly to the rear of the house?
Notices were sent out to the surrounding neighbors. Nobody came to the office to see the plans, or, no, you know, there's nobody here that seems to be against it, so.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for the applicant or staff?
And it's really what they're adding back there towards the rear is, you know, very passive. They have a master, closet, bathroom, and storage, so it's not, you know, your party room or anything like that, so. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it.
If there's no other comments or questions, I will entertain a motion.
A motion to approve, just based on, like I said, the house being where it is, and from this aerial photo, it seems like we approved it for the rear neighbor already, you know, back when they made that addition. And it's a very similar request.
I second the motion.
Okay, can I get a roll call?
Okay, Board Member Diana Rio, how do you vote?
Yes.
Victoria Gans, how do you vote?
Yes.
Alex Diaz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Eugenio Gonzalez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gustavo Ceballos, how do you vote?
Nothing against your application, not that it matters anyways, but no. I think it's our job to not grant variances when they're not necessary. Thank you.
Okay, item passes 4-1.
Alrighty, can we move to item 5D?
Okay, item 5D, variance application for Javier Matias and wife Iraida, property address 1305 Southwest 60th Court, West Miami, Florida 33144. Applicant requests a variance to build a detached canvas awning carport canopy in the front yard within 2 feet 6 inches of the front property line where 25 feet is required by zoning ordinance 282. The property is a normal shaped corner lot, and the applicants are requesting this canvas awning to park their vehicles within their yard. The lot is 6,265 square feet with a standard yard. Section 4.12 zoning ordinance 282 and section 4.15 of ordinance 9901.
Good evening, my name is Javier Matias, may it please the board. I live at 1305 Southwest 60 Court. I've been a resident of that property for the last 27 years, the property I bought after I got out of the Marine Corps with my VA benefits. The reason I want to put awning on that side of the house is because my hardship comes from the black olive assassins. Those trees, every time I get one of those seeds fall on top of the car, it's a ding. Every time I turn in the car, whether it's a lease car or high-end car that we have, I have to pay out. My family grew. I have 2 kids, and they have boyfriends and girlfriends. When they park on my swale, it looks like a house where I'm renting a house to 20 people, and I'm not. I want to move my cars to protect them and put them back there and leave the parking space for the garage for people to pull up. I also have a government vehicle, so I have a take-home car. I bring it there and I park it there, so you can imagine all the cars on my swale. In addition to my hardship, I have flooding. They did a project there about 20 years ago. The project, all it causes me is hardship. I get flooding all over the front of my house that if I walk out to the cars parked on the swale, I get wet. Look at the water. Oh. So I'm just moving my cars to inside the property so I don't park. If you look at, I don't know if you have the photo, an aerial. I have this way, the gate that goes into the backyard. There's a gate that goes in there. I don't want to park in front of that. On that, because code has told me, hey, you can't park there. You have to either park it inside, or park it on the swale, or in your only garage space you have in front of the house.
Wait, can you repeat that? Where is that gate? On
That
13?
gate, yes, so my house faces west. That gate is closest, so that is looking at my house like this. So those cars, that's my son's car, that's my wife's car, and normally we'll park a car in between between the black olive and the palm tree.
To the left of the garage, to the left of the white car is where that gate
The gate is right
would
there.
be.
I got you.
Okay, so it faces 60, whatever that
It
is,
faces,
60th court.
The gate faces, you're right, 60th court, yeah. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So this canopy is not being proposed in front of the house?
No, it's in the,
On the side yard?
Yes, inside the property, sir.
Inside of the yard, yeah,
You-
inside, behind the fence, essentially.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So the access to the canopy would be from,
From,
From
if I may
13.
walk up again, so this is the roadway. Here is the rock pit that I put there because I get all the flooding. I mean, I can't even grow grass sometimes. Every year I put new grass, it dies. There's a tree here, and I have to cut in between the tree and my driveway to get back here, and this is where I'm proposing the awning. This is my gate.
so the gate is where the blue line is.
The gate is here, aligned with the wall.
So, but you're coming in with your cars from 13.
Correct. I come this way, I go
So you're approach to to the parking is on 60th or on 13th?
On the curb, right here, this is my approach.
Is that permitted? Is,
Okay, the existing approach right now is this area right here, which is on the swale.
This little one, yes,
And you have your driveway, this is where the garage is.
yes.
Where he's proposing to put this carport canopy is this blue box that is covered by the existing gate and fence that he has running along, and also on the 13th Street side. Entrance on how to get to,
Yeah, right
to
there.
park the vehicle there. I
Yes.
don't know what, I think the board member is asking is, are you looking to go like this?
Yes,
How I'm doing with the arrow?
yes, I'm planning also, in the future, also to pull a permit for here, to put a driveway, to make this, those nice, beautiful square block, concrete driveways that people put, so that I can use this property to drive in, park the vehicles, and close the gate. One of the cars I'm gonna store in the back is my son's car. He also joined the Marine Corps, and he's deployed. So that car stays here, he can't take it with him.
so would he be allowed to build like an access ramp
The
on,
only-
on that corner like
The
that?
only concern that I have from a zoning perspective, because this is a corner lot, is the triangle visibility. That's something that I would have to sit and look at and be sure that, because if there's a car coming from 13th Street, if you have a stop sign here and a car coming from 60th Avenue, if they don't see it due to the, a hedge or a car that's parked there, it could be an issue. That's my only concern that I have with that.
But as it sits, we're not approving the driveway, right? It would be essentially storage for your son's vehicle or a
Yeah.
spare vehicle on the side of the house.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but also if, I don't ever recall seeing a drive access in a corner like that.
My issue is that currently you're gonna have to drive on an unimproved surface to get to that spot.
I'll improve it if that's what it takes.
Well, not only that, is it really allowed because of the degree of the triangle visibility?
I
I had to
highly-
put gravel there because I can't get grass there. I mean, it's horrible. It floods completely. I have, whenever any car drives by in front of my house, when the rainy season is bad, I get waves of water. If my house wasn't up, elevated a little bit like they are, because I have the crawl space under, I'd get water inside my house. And it all comes into my yard.
Did you
Look at- see
get
the
an
mud?
actual permit?
That never
for-
stops. That is a constant for me. That's a constant. Nothing grows. And when they graded the street, they moved the drain. I used to have a drain here. They moved it over there. I still have you see this tree here? To the right of the tree, there's a French drain. And that doesn't even suffice with taking the amount of water that falls.
No, my concern is that corner that you'll be driving up. I don't think that's permitted, not by any variance or anything. I think it's a code situation where you cannot drive up to a parking on the grass. Like you'll be driving up on grass and rock or whatever, but an actual drive approach, I don't think that would be allowed in there. I don't know, I might be, mistaken, and that would be something that we're approving a variance for something that you may not even be able to build.
I know that a few years ago I had
That I
asked
don't know,
the-
that I don't
previous-
have the knowledge for that.
You gotta say your name and the address.
Oh, okay. Iraida Matias, 1305 Southwest 60th Court.
My wife.
There was the driveway was approved a couple years ago. We did pavers.
We have pavers in the
Yeah,
back there.
we spent almost $20,000
that's
putting
paved
pavers
back there.
inside. So we have
means-
been
so we
going,
have to
No,
just change-
no, I'm not talking about the driveway inside the house, I'm talking about from the street in the swale, from the street to your driveway. there's an area called the swale area, which is the one that gets flooded, that has the grass that belongs to the city. Okay, so that area, that's where you would have to build an approach to come into, under the canopy.
Right, that was the
So,
second.
but that
per-
approach is where I don't see where you would be allowed to.
And for
build
the,
it.
for the staff and the board, how is, because I know we're talking about a carport specifically, but a lot of, the residents in the city have boats, right? How is this any different from, say, a resident that would park their boat on the side of the house, right? There's, some of these houses, they don't have approaches, right? It's just literally like a gate, right? And people, you know, they park their boats, some people have cars. I mean, I've seen it before. They actually have
I just don't think
pavers
that's
there.
permitted, though.
Oh, it's,
I think
that's
people
my
just put
question,
it
yeah.
on there. I don't know, I may be
Yeah.
speaking out of,
Can I ask this?
but,
Okay, so before I changed the current fence that I had now, I had a fence that you could see through.
Mhm.
I had a canine, so I changed the fence to the current fence I had now, and this used to be my gate to come in,
okay.
right here on, 60th, right? No,
That would
Yeah,
be,
60.
That's
my
13.
approach,
that would be
I had
13th
a
Street.
gated entrance here, I took it off and put a whole fence that's covered by these palms, and I put that also to protect the dog, because I didn't want, I had a canine, I was a canine handler, and I didn't want people touching the dog when I let the dog run in the back. Now, my entrance is here, on this side. If I propose to my, the builder, the guy that's doing the awning, to do the gate here, and I won't put a gate here, I'll put a rolling gate here, would that get approved? Because it's the same thing, I'm gonna ask him to put a gate here, their rolls, so that I can put the cars in. But if that's not the case, I'll put the gate here, leave this closed up, and now I don't have to worry about approach or anything, where I already have an existing approach from that side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
my question was gonna be regarding the
Yeah.
driveway that was approved originally. Where was the approach for that driveway? It was there?
It was there,
Right here.
yeah.
It's still there too, it hasn't been removed. If
Okay.
you do an aerial, you'll see it. If you look for the house behind me, you'll see that it's still, the pad is still there and everything. The only thing I did was hold the fence.
So if I can try to just frame the question, the issue that we're discussing. So I think, the board member's concern is that you can't do an approach there because you're on the corner, which I
Right.
agree 100%. The likelihood of that happening is 0. If that other approach is already there, that's a great option. Obviously, the request before us today is just the canopy.
Correct.
So what we're gonna approve today is the canopy, not the approach, not the driveway, not what you can and cannot do on the grass or not on the grass.
Okay.
We're just looking at the canopy.
Okay, okay.
Just to put my opinion on the record, if this was a garage, if you made this into a 3-car garage, I believe our zoning code is a 2.5-foot setback for garages, or close to it.
3 feet.
3 feet. So frankly, you could build this as a solid block and it'd be approved because it's a garage. That's what you're basically building with a canopy. So I personally don't have an issue with it.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, I don't have an issue with it either. It's just that we might be approving something in a location that may not be,
Yeah, I don't wanna set a bad precedent.
Possible.
I wanna be a good neighbor.
We're
You
we're
may-
zoning and
no.
planning. We have to help you
Yeah.
plan
Yeah.
for the.
It may not be usable, is what she's suggesting.
Right,
yeah.
I agree.
Right.
Now, that's a different story. Now, we can approve it today, and then if you can't use it, that's a different story.
Then you have to come back and
Yeah.
amend whatever was approved.
But we are gonna do a driveway.
Yeah, but I'll end up doing it on the other side, knowing what we know now. I'll do the driveway on the other side, as opposed to coming on that side. and trying to
You can try to apply for the other one. We're not limiting you in any way. I'm just not
Right.
sure that it's an
Right,
option.
right, right.
Yeah,
It's
that-
just, what happens is that in front of the house where we have the rocks now, we have to do a driveway, because we just have the rocks there, and when it rains,
It's bad,
I wanna move, like, it's a puddle,
yeah.
I feel like there's water always around us, you know what I mean?
It doesn't drain
And the
right.
only- yeah, it doesn't drain, and then it creates a lot of mold and a lot of, it gets
Mud.
really muddy, and then, so cause our intention was to also do like a driveway, because we are constantly putting our cars in there, but we have to deal with the rocks and the water and fanguero, you know?
I'm just letting you know that from
It
experience,
says the canopy.
once again, this is just friendly advice.
Yeah.
From your sidewalk to the street, that area, where that is, you're not gonna be able to do an approach, I suspect.
Or an approach me, like to be able to,
Un concreto ahí,
or like concrete.
yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you can't pave the part of your area that's in front of this proposed canopy, assuming you meet all the requirements, lot coverage and green space and all that, I don't suspect that's gonna be an issue, but typically a curb cut like that, or an approach on a corner, typically will not, it doesn't meet FDOT standards.
But other house has it.
I don't know. No, wait.
Pictures and it's fine.
It's okay.
Like I said, we're not opining on that today.
Right, right,
This is
right,
just
right.
friendly advice.
No,
If you
yeah.
wanna apply for it,
Yeah.
that's a different story.
No worries.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have no other
And
questions.
yeah, and maybe if you still wanna keep the privacy that you have with the landscaping, maybe you know, put the landscaping, you know, on the other side. That's up to you. All right.
If we have no other comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Can I get a roll call?
Okay, Eugenio Gonzalez, how do you vote?
Yes?
Victoria Gans, how do you vote?
Yes, and thank you for your service and your
Thank you.
son's service.
Thank you. I'm still serving.
Alex
I'm a
Diaz, how do
captain
you
with
vote?
Miami Beach.
Yes.
Diana Rio, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gustavo Ceballos, how do you vote?
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Item passes 5-0.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, good
Bye.
luck. Can I also make a comment to, put it on the commissioner's radar to maybe add a drain by their,
I'll run it
Street
by the
view?
city engineer
yeah,
and
thank
talk to him
you.
about that for sure.
Yeah, that's bad, yeah.
And please, don't plant, I'll plant any other tree you want.
Not a black olive.
I've honestly, I'll show you metaphor, but I rolled my ankle on it. And and it's jogging with, one of your commissioners, Chavez's father, when we were both in the military together. And we're jogging out, like my second month living in the Resident neighborhood.
Oh.
You know, you can request a permit to remove those trees.
Yeah, that tree's outside. No, but I'll so I'm gonna take it away because
They could,
I gotta take the good with the bad. It gives me shade, it'll take another 20 years to grow nice.
Careful with the roots.
Yeah, no, my sidewalks, if you look at the photos, my sidewalks are all lifted because
I'm
of.
very familiar.
We all have that problem.
yeah,
Thank you.
bye.
Thank you, bye.
Item 5E,
Okay, 5E, variance, this is a variance extension request for Javier J. Calle, Christine Morales. Property address 5940 Southwest 12th Street, West Miami, Florida 33144. Applicant requests extension of variance that was approved on June 27, 2023 by the Planning and Zoning Board to add an addition to the front of the house for a master bedroom. The proposed addition will have a front setback of 20 feet to the property line from the proposed wall of the master bedroom. The property is an interior lot, and the existing house has a front setback of 25 feet as required by ordinance. The required rear setback is 17 feet to the rear property line. The property has 6,400 square feet, and the applicant is requesting approval of the variance extension for the addition. Section 4.17, 4A.4, and Section 18.2 of zoning ordinance 282.
Hi, good evening. My name is Javier Calle. I'm the owner at 5940 Southwest 12th Street.
Just for some background, board members, the applicant applied for a building permit. When I did the zoning review, I noticed that they were not complying with the setback. Spoke to his contractor, who informed me that they had passed the variance, and based on our ordinance, variances, once they get approved, they have to apply for a building permit within 90 days. So because it's been so long, that's why he's applying for this extension.
Yeah, I was unaware of that the variance would expire, and I had a hard time finding an architect. I did the initial drawings to apply for the variance. I did, and some preliminary drawings, just outlining exactly what we were planning on doing, and I got approved at that time. I had a hard time finding an architect. When I found an architect originally to do my permit drawings, in the middle of the process, they moved. Then we had some things happening in the family, and, you know, just the whole process got delayed. But, you know, basically the whole, it's the same condition. It hasn't changed, just time has moved on.
So this is the same variance that we had approved at some point?
Yes.
Correct, it was approved at the June, let me look at my memo.
So what they're asking is just an extension of time, or like?
Correct, correct.
Oh, okay, I thought it was an extension on the on the addition.
Oh,
That's
no,
how
no.
that's how I read it.
Right, right, yeah, no, it's the
So
same
this is
exact
the
condition.
same one that was approved originally.
Yeah,
Correct. If it would have happened within the time frame, they can request like a 15-day extension, if I'm not mistaken, by our ordinance through the city manager. But because it's been a year
Couple
and a few
years,
months
okay.
over,
yeah.
that's why
I
he's
now
going
have
through
a
this process.
contractor and an architect, and the drawings have been submitted to the city. We've received comments, obviously, we're working on those. But one of the issues is the setback, the variance that had expired, so.
Do you have the vote from that meeting?
The only records I was able to find, I tried finding the minutes of that meeting, and I did not have any luck. I was lucky enough to find the original plans themselves, and it was approved based on the application. I would have to check the minutes to be sure, you know, how many voted for and against.
I don't recall voting for this. And I didn't even sign this. It says it was signed by Juan Peña for me.
No, this was like at least 2 years ago. I remember him, I remember you. I
It
don't
was a- it
remember
was
the
a year-
plans, but I remember.
A year and a half, something like that ago? I can't
When
remember.
is the when did this, I guess, approval expire?
So this was approved at the June 26, 2023 Planning and Zoning meeting. And they had 90 days to apply for a building permit. If within those 90 days, they saw that it was gonna expire, they can request a 15-day extension approved by the city manager. And because all this time has passed, that's why we're here.
I'm new, but if it was already approved, I feel, I
I'll
have
be-
no issue with it being reapproved, granting you an extension by proxy.
I'll be honest, you could have granted an extension under Florida statute 252363. You could have gotten this extended and not had to come back here.
Hmm.
You would have gotten a 2-year extension. I don't agree with it, but I'm not gonna try to make a different motion today, so I will entertain a motion if nobody has any other comments.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Can I get a roll call?
Okay, Eugenio Gonzalez, how do you vote? Eugenio, how do you vote?
Yes.
Victoria Gans, how do you vote?
Yes.
Alexander Diaz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Diana Rio, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gustavo Ceballos, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you so
Item
much.
passes 5-0.
Thank you very much, thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
Next item, item 5F, sign permit application for new business, The Best Traffic School wall sign, property address 5870 Southwest 8th Street, Unit 1, West Miami, Florida 33144. Applicant is requesting a sign permit for the business to allow the installation of a non-illuminated wall sign on the west elevation of the building. The plans for the building as submitted show placement of a 13.41 square foot sign that reads The Best Traffic School on the building facade in addition to the words traffic school and street symbols on storefront windows, as well as business information on storefront entrance door. The signage on the storefront windows measures a total of 23.30 square feet, and the signage on the storefront entrance door measures a total of 2.81 square feet. The sign usage of all signage for this business is 39.52 square feet of the allowed 64.35 square feet for signs. Zoning section 22.0 of zoning ordinance 282, referencing ordinance 2013-08, section 22-5.
Is there anybody here?
Yes.
My name is George Molina, but if it's possible, I can't, may I to follow this meeting in Spanish, please?
That's up to the city attorney, I don't.
My English is not so good.
That's fine if the
Any board member have an issue with the applicant speaking Spanish?
No.
Seeing none? Proceed.
Okay. Thank you.
¿Dónde está esto localizado? ¿En el shopping center? ¿Eso está al lado de...?
Frente a William Joyería. Frente por frente.
Frente, eso, entonces está al lado de donde están de eso de daycare de las personas mayores.
En el extremo. Atrás. Ahí le sigue un business de limpieza. Al lado, al final. Estoy yo en esa misma banda.
So that shopping center, so you understand, it's U-shaped
Yeah.
on 8th Street, so where La Edad de Oro is, right there on the corner, they're on that same line in the rear.
And towards the back.
And their business faces east.
Ujú.
When you're looking at the front door, you're facing west.
So it faces the parking lot, if you will.
Correct.
of
That's
Yeah,
right.
it
the
does
parking
not
lot.
face 8th Street, it faces their parking lot, correct.
Y todo lo que tú ves en la foto de eso es nuevo.
¿En qué sentido?
Nada de eso existe hoy en día.
No. Estoy esperando la aprobación.
Así que todo eso es nuevo.
Es nuevo.
Las ventanas, la parte de arriba. todo.
No. Eso es un local ya existente.
No. Pero lo que dice Traffic School, todo
Eso
eso
es nuevo, sí.
La parte de arriba dice The Best Traffic School es nuevo.
Sí.
Todo. Okay.
Sí. Eso es lo que...
This is a new business.
Sí. So el negocio se llama The Best Traffic School.
That's right.
En mi opinión, ponerle el nombre arriba está bien, y lo que quiere poner en la puerta, que es el nombre de nuevo con el número de teléfono y el horario, está bien, pero lo que tiene propuesto para las ventanas, que dice otra vez Traffic School y con todos los símbolos, eso no me parece que vaya muy bien con la forma que nosotros queremos cambiar el código en un futuro del signage. So, yo le diría que dejar solamente donde dice The Best Traffic School arriba y lo que tiene en la puerta, y no poner lo que tiene en las ventanas.
El problema es que esa es la función del Traffic School, las señales y eso, preparar a las personas
Sí,
para,
pero eso lo sabe todo.
para la
Eso
licencia.
se sobreentiende.
Si no me doy propaganda, ¿cómo voy a progresar? El que pase va a decir Traffic School. Ya cuando vea las señales, ya lo pone en función. Si no estoy perdido, si no puedo propagandizar. La mayoría de las escuelas, por no decirle todas, tienen todo eso lleno. Como la señorita me explicó, no, mira, tienes que dejar el 30%, ponlo elemental. Traté de ponerlo elemental. Inclusive le pedí, por favor, porque ahora en la primavera, porque nosotros estamos en eso desde hace unos meses, esperando el permiso oficial de Tallahassee, cuando da el sol ahí da de frente. Y todo eso entra el sol hasta allá atrás. Entonces yo le explicaba a ella que originalmente yo le pedí que me dejara poner la malla. Ustedes saben que se pone una especie de malla que usted para afuera ve, pero no se ve para adentro, en primer lugar, y en segundo lugar, no deja pasar ya, limita prácticamente el 60% de la luz solar. Pero entonces la señorita me dijo que no se podía, no la puse, la quité y dejé nada más que entonces o sea que gran parte de ese cristal está libre. Si ustedes lo pueden ver, no estoy llenando, la puerta abajo está libre, el cristal. O sea, como yo veo las demás escuelas, la llenan completa. Creo que, porque si no pongo Traffic School y que se vea para poder vender, ¿no? Porque si no, la gente va a pasar por ahí y va a decir que lo que cuando ven ya la señal, ya se ubican. No piensan que es para donde se procesan las chapas ni nada de eso, que es específicamente para driving test. ¿Entiendes?
Y si eliminas la segunda mención de la escuela de tráfico y
Ajá.
dejas las señales que capturan la atención de la gente que estás proponiendo y quitas ese segundo traffic school.
Quito el Traffic School.
de arriba,
Agran-
la ventana.
agrando las señales,
No, porque yo creo que como están ahora ya están en
porque
el 30%.
desde el punto de vista estético se vería horrible. Dejar todo ese cristal libre en un negocio y nada más que poner los letreritos abajo, mire, tiene 14 pulgadas y eso tiene en total, aquí no distingo bien, vaya, desde el punto de vista de estética. Ahí traje la que no era.
Y,
No veo bien, pero bueno, en la proporción no guarda ninguna proporción.
y legalmente, hay alguna ley o algo, puedes usar, can you use these signs? Like, can I just put a stop sign up, like I said, like you get what I'm saying? Like,
Not within our purview, I have no idea.
no, like, it's a sign of a stop sign, but it's a traffic question, I guess it would be legally. Are we allowed to just copy and paste pictures of stop signs and walkways and, you know, things of that nature, or?
I don't think so, but I can't say that but that, if it emulates an official sign, that would be, unless it was so clearly, like you put it on a bottle of ketchup or something. I mean, I'm serious about that. I mean, but if you have it appearing to emulate an official stop sign, then officially placed, that would not be wise. Just put a stop, if I may say, a stop sign that doesn't look like you're trying to make it
Look like a stop sign.
that you could get a traffic ticket for running. That's what I'm saying. You don't want to imply that you have official, but something that tells them to stop is perfectly okay. I assumed you meant a stop sign, which when I was very young were yellow, I swear. They've been red ever since. Nobody believes me they were ever yellow in the state, but some sign that is not official looking but tells you to stop, that would be acceptable.
Any other comments or questions?
Based on the recommendation from the city.
La verdad
attorney,
que no entendí lo que él
Ah.
dijo.
Does someone wanna take
O
a
si
shot?
si hay otros comentarios o otras preguntas de hacer y ahora él está explicando su respuesta.
Con lo que dice el attorney de la ciudad, con la recomendación de él, que no es legal, no puede ser ilegal, no es que no es ilegal, pero puede ser ilegal porque esos son signage del government, no se puede como reproduce, vamos a decir.
May I just, sorry to interrupt, but you were not talking about the signs arrayed in this window, were you?
Yes.
Oh. Well, I would think those would meet my definition of not appearing to be
Okay.
an official,
Todas
for
las-
which if you didn't obey it, you'd get a
Todas las
traffic
escuelas de
ticket.
la
No,
nación
that's-
tienen esos signs, todas.
Those
Sí,
are
sí.
okay. Sí.
Desde California hasta la Florida.
Sí,
Todas lo tienen.
el abogado está indicando que así como está, no.
No,
está-
yo lo que
está
digo
bien.
es, si es por eso,
No, no es por eso, era una pregunta que teníamos con el abogado para ver si era ilegal tener señales oficiales en una ventana que le pudiera dar como confusión a una persona. Y él
bueno,
dice
el
que
problema,
no, eso está
sí,
bien.
porque el problema es que la escuela, precisamente nosotros tenemos que preparar al estudiante para eso. Tienen que conocer las señales. Ustedes saben cómo se
Sí,
saca
sí,
una
sí.
licencia. Tenemos que darle las clases, prepararlo, el teórico, todo está en base a esas señales. O sea, que esa es la parte básica de nosotros. En cuanto a sustituir Traffic School, pero es que no hay otra cosa
Yo
que
entiendo.
me vincule. La escuela, ¿me entiende?
Sí, sí.
O inclusive fíjense que no llegué a poner ni los servicios que nosotros hacemos. Que la mayoría de las escuelas hacen eso, ¿no? Meten ahí también el letrero de lo que hacen. O sea, la escuela de 8 horas, de 12 horas, cuando la policía los multa, etcétera, etcétera. Yo no puse nada de eso ahí. Lo dejé nada más con lo básico, lo que es la escuela. Traffic School.
And do we have any information on the sign on the top? Is this a painted sign? Is it, individual letters?
La
Sí,
señal.
son letras nada más. No hay
¿Pintado
iluminación.
o-
No, no hay iluminación ni nada.
No, pero es como todo junto o son
Son letras,
cada una?
sí,
Ok.
Independiente.
en PVC.
PVC, ok.
Sí, que eso no tiene problema, eso no se oxida
Ajá.
ni nada. Sí.
We have no other comments or questions. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to only approve the signage up on top that reads the Best Traffic School and the proposed signage on the door, and to remove the additional signage on the windows.
I s-
Because I don't believe it's compatible with the way we want to move forward with the signage code within the city.
I second that.
Okay, can we have a roll call?
Okay, Eugenio, how do you vote?
Yes.
Victoria, how do you vote?
No.
Wait,
Oh,
a
sorry.
a yes vote is agreeing with the
The
motion.
motion.
Okay. Okay,
Perhaps
go ahead. Okay.
in mind is, what happens if this motion, which approves certain parts but not other parts, fails? Anyone can make a motion after that to approve it all or to
Yeah.
approve none.
Right.
But her motion is to approve part and not another part.
Okay,
The-
all right.
Okay, I'm sorry, so just to be clear, Diana made the motion, Alex Diaz second.
Yes.
So Victoria, you're saying no?
No, yeah, I disagree with the motion.
Okay, Eugenio Gonzalez
Yes.
and Gustavo Ceballos?
Yes.
Okay, item passes 4-1 with condition to remove all signage on the windows. So, el permiso se aprobó 4-1 con la condición de dejar solamente the Best Traffic School, el letrero de arriba, y lo que está en la puerta, lo que está en la ventana no se puede poner.
Nada, dejarlo en
Así,
blanco.
correcto, así fue como lo aprobaron, con esa condición. Okay?
¿Qué vamos a hacer? Vamos a tratar de subsistir. No hay de otra.
Do we have any other items?
Y ni las señales,
Correcto, nada en la ventana.
nada, en blanco completo.
Correcto. Ujú.
Bueno, ¿qué vamos a hacer?
Just defer. Do you have any other items?
Good of the order.
I have nothing. Anybody have anything?
I would like to mention, we do have a zoning consultant, as I mentioned earlier, that we are meeting. I am meeting with him once a week, and we are looking to introduce him to you guys at the next planning and zoning meeting. So I just wanted to say that.
Let me-
I didn't have anything initially, but thinking about it, do we have any plans to change, like a concrete date or, you know, the process that's gonna be involved so that we can bring that code up to our standard, like you were saying?
So we are working on revamping the entire zoning code. We're working on implementing a new comp plan. So there's gonna be quite a few changes, and we are gonna, again, I am meeting with the zoning consultant. We are gonna get your input as the planning and zoning board member, so we are gonna be working a lot this year.
Okay, so this is your
So,
timeline? Okay,
Yes,
good.
yes.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
do any like public workshops or anything like that to involve the public to see what their take
And
is or no?
in terms of planning and zoning, I'm not sure, but I can run that by the city manager and see.
Just curious.
Is the consultant a firm or an individual?
He is an individual that works for a firm, but I don't recall the name now.
Nothing else? Meeting adjourned.